So about CCC, Consultants Consortium of Chennai is an association of management system consultants registered under the Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act 1975. The key objective of CCC is to work in alignment with the national quality missions launched by the Government of India by educating the industry about the role and importance of standards, certifications, and regulations in the country as well as in the global markets. CCC strives to encourage responsible consulting through members of its association, and focus is to standardize consulting practices in alignment with the changing market and industry needs in a dynamic manner. The focus is also to identify areas and industries in which the consultants in the profession of management system consulting can contribute to the betterment of the society and the country, and to promote management system consulting in such areas or industries. One of the core objectives is to collaborate with various industry platforms. Is my voice clear? Is my audio clear? Trade associations, chambers of commerce, management associations, apex body of government or quasi-government organizations to contribute to the betterment of the industry initiatives, which in turn contribute to the betterment of the society. Next slide, sir. So about World Accreditation Day 2020, it's a global initiative established by ILAC and IAF. This year's theme is how accreditation improves food safety. Accreditation has an important role in food safety by ensuring competent and impartial inspection, certification, and testing services in all parts of local, national, and international food chains. In doing so, accreditation supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in particular the Good Health and Well-being Goal, SDG 3. Accreditation can be applied to a wide variety of assessment, approval, or evaluation tasks and is used by business, government, and regulators to help deliver a safer world. By the way, let me introduce myself. I am Ram Kumar, Vice President of CCC. I am happy to welcome you all for this session. Next slide, sir.
Yep, just one moment. Can I speak, Mr. Ram?
Yeah, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. Good evening, everyone. This is Alok Jain. I am Director and Head of newly created Division of Quality Council of India. The name of the division is Training and Capacity Building. This year, VAT 2020 theme, as Mr. Ram has just mentioned, focus on how accreditation improves food safety. The initiative of Consultant Consortium of Chennai for celebrating of VAT 2020 by having a series of webinars on various topics related to improving food safety is really marvelous. It's really appreciable. It shows their commitment and passion. I thank the consortium to give me an opportunity to introduce our new division of Quality Council of India. So as you know, Quality Council of India is having 5 boards: NABCB, NABL, NABH, NABET, and NBQP. So this is a new division, Training and Capacity Building Division, which is an independent division and is created directly under Quality Council of India. The main aim of the creating of this division is to cater the need of the stakeholders in various domains like quality management, healthcare, manufacturing, food, education, and we intend to impart the training in wide spectrum of courses through different mode of training, through different modes like classroom trainings, virtual trainings, e-learning, and we can provide the customized training also. So we look forward to working with you all, and thank you consortium for giving again an opportunity to Quality Council of India, especially the division Training and Capacity Building. Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Ram Kumar, please.
Thank you, Alok Jain ji. Thank you for that introduction about TCB. And now I'm happy to introduce the topic of today's webinar. It is Hazard Control Plan. Now I request Shri T. Appaji Rao to introduce himself and as co-presenter and take further the session forward. Thank you.
Good evening all. As it's been stated and shown, I am Appaji Rao. I am basically a dairy technologist. I am a trainer, auditor, management system developer, I have about 15 years experience in dairy practically, and then 22 years into management systems. I'm a qualified lead auditor for QMS, food safety, HACCP, then updated to FSMS, EMS, OSAS, BRC food, and laboratory assessment. I am actually also an NDQP registered principal consultant for food safety and NLRP trainer for milk and milk products with FSSAI. I now request my co-presenter, Ms. Krishna Datta, to introduce herself, please. Is she there? Hello, am I audible?
Sir, you are audible.
Madam is not.
No, she is having some problem in connecting to the Zoom. You may
Okay.
continue, sir.
Okay. I will
Whenever she
introduce
joins,
her.
you can, yeah, you can introduce her, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Well, she is a very eminent lady and has a good vast experience. She is into manufacturing of food and also presently she is helping in developing management systems as a consultant and a trainer with an experience of 22 years in this field. Once she joins, she will give her own introduction also. Okay, what is about today's webinar? It's the title is given as Hazard Control Plan. Now, this is a new term which has been introduced by ISO 22000-2018, what we earlier used to call as HACCP plan. Okay, HACCP plan has got many other things. We all have been going through that. The main focus I am going to put into today is about the control measures, understanding the critical control point identification through decision tree, and understanding critical limit, what it has to be defined, critical limit, how to define in critical limit. Now, this whole thing about hazard control plan, what we used to call earlier as HACCP plan, what is it actually? What is this? This is actually a risk assessment and a managerial tool. With this, we are able to identify and control specific hazards which we want to control in the food. It has been widely adopted throughout the food industry with variation on how the principles have been applied. US FDA has taken initiation and asked all its food processors in US to develop and implement HACCP in their food industries. In a similar way, our country, FSSAI, is also insisting on GMPs, GHPs, and HACCP. And there are other requirements through retailers who are pressurizing that the supplier should be giving them good and safe food. So with all these things, the overall impact has come out positive for the food industry. The now times have given challenges. There are many principles and there are many models to obtaining food safety. So what is it all about? We all know that HACCP has got 7 principles, but that's not the starting point. We have to start with the preliminary steps. These, and then only the principles have to be brought into place. These principles, preliminary steps are 5 in number. Before you move on to principles, we have to develop and have these 5 steps in place. These 5 steps are: assemble HACCP team, describe the product, identify intended use, construct flow diagram, on-site confirmation of flow diagram. Now, once we have done the first step where the team is there, the team has to carry on doing all the remaining of these minimal steps. Having done that, the team obtains entire knowledge of the product, intended use, and the process, and confirmation that's how the production went. Now the team is ready to carry out the principles. The first principle is conduct hazard analysis. Then determine CCPs. Then establish critical control point, establish critical limits, establish monitoring system for each CCP, establish verification, establish documentation and record. We all know these. Now, I'm not going into each and every of these things, but since we are focusing on to control measures, we will be talking on that more. And then to the HACCP plan with all other important ingredients involved. So, what is this HACCP? HACCP requires that the user has to identify the potential hazards. Potential means which has a potentiality to be in the food to harm the human consumption. Determine the significance of these hazards and conduct the risk assessment. And then understand the criticality of each and every risk into this food. Then we need to install appropriate control measures. This is where we are talking about. So let's understand quickly. We have to go through each of the process steps. Now that process step, we have to identify the hazards. And then for these hazards, we have to conduct risk assessment. Then we need to identify the significant hazards through these risk assessment. Now, for these significant hazards, we have to identify appropriate level of controls. Now, these controls are our control measures. So, having gone through this sequence, we have understood how to attain our control measures for the significant hazards. Now, there is a confusion in identifying the control measure. Why? Because various standards have defined it in a different way. Because of their terms, because of the language, because of the methodology and the scope, there is a different standards giving different meanings into these control measures. Some are good, some are not so good. But then there are complicated models to identify, and they create more problems. We have got, which is very commonly known in our country, is HACCP, FSMS. So how do we identify it? That's where we have to understand. Control measures. ISO 22000-2018 defines this particular terminology as action or an activity that is essential to prevent or eliminate a significant food safety hazard or reduce it to an acceptable level. Now, actually the word significant food is in bracket because this is not in ISO 22000. And elimination word is also not there in ISO 22000, whereas HACCP documents speaks of significant hazard and the entire thing. So I've clubbed these two to make you understand the difference between these two. Now, what is this? It is very general and it can be used to describe virtually any action or a step or an activity or a job or a task or a process or a produce at a particular step to control the hazard. Now, categorizing according to their nature, direct relationship with the process and the risk involved in with the food. Now, ultimately, we are taking what the terminological is, keep it aside. What we want to do, we want to control the hazards. But different terms have been cropping up. Critical control point, prerequisite programs, operational prerequisite programs, control points, or CP, few people call it, quality control points, QCP, few people use it. So this confusion is getting more and more and more and more. How to come out of it? So let's go by, for each of these terms, let's go by the definition and try to understand them, to understand the difference between these two. critical control point, what we call as CCP and known to everyone, is a step at which control can be applied and is essential to prevent or eliminate a food safety hazard or reduce it to an acceptable level. So please keep in mind, CCP is a process step and a control has to be applied at that step. Control for what? To control the food safety hazard. So these are the three buzzwords. Please keep that in mind. A step in the process where you apply a control and it has to control food safety hazards only. Otherwise, it's not a CCP. Now, please remember, CCP differs in fact that it relates specifically to a step in the process. It usually is related to control of that specific hazard. So, CCP is a step at which control can be applied to control a specific hazard in that food processing. Let's go to PRPs. In short, otherwise the full name is prerequisite programs. Basic conditions and activities that are necessary to maintain a hygienic environment throughout the food chain, suitable for production, handling, and provision of safe and products and safe food for the human consumption. Now, this is what is being defined as. So usually these are general to the operations and not to specific steps. Please understand the difference between CCP and OPRP now with this statement. These are for the general operations and not to a specific step. Usually to be taken into action before the food processing at that process step. Usually to be fixed before starting food processing. Mostly known earlier as GMP, GHP, GAP, GWP, GVP, GTP, all GPs. Let me explain, elaborating it. Good manufacturing practices, good hygiene practices, good agricultural practices, good warehouse practices, good veterinary practices, good transport practices, and so on, so forth. We come to the new terminology which has been brought out by FSMS. The term is operational prerequisite programs. Now it has been short-termed as OPRP. Colloquially, we have been speaking it since long, but this is what has come into. And it is defined as a control measure or combination of control measures applied to prevent or reduce a significant food safety hazard to an acceptable level, and where action criteria or measurements or observation enable the effective control of process or to the product flow. This differentiation has come out in 2018, where what we have to remember is, if we do not have a monitoring parameter, there is no measurement, but we monitor through some observations to ensure the safety issue. Such control measures will be going into operational prerequisite programs, or in short, OPRP. So, specific action related to process steps. So, this is also to the process step, just like CCP, where measurements are not available. Measurements means there is no typical parameter to monitor it, like temperature, like pressure, etc. Monitoring is carried out based on criteria or senses, human senses. Please remember, this is not in HACCP principle. This is typically FSMS terminology. Right, friends? We move ahead. Control point or quality control points. Now, this is defined as any step or biological, chemical, or physical factor can be controlled, or else an operational control to ensure quality of the product. Again, this is not a HACCP term. Mostly used in certain certifications like IFS certification, SQF certification, where quality along with food safety has been included. So there, these QCP or a QCP terminologies are mostly used. So I hope I have made all of you clear in mind the terminological difference of these four typical, which are always giving confusion to us. Now, having understood this, the most important parameter to understand now is to how to determine the critical control point, that is second principle of HACCP. Ultimately, what we have to understand, whether that step is a CCP or not a CCP, CCP or not a CCP. So decision tree has been identifying, has been used by and has been provided by Codex Alimentarius Commission in 1997 to understand this mechanism, how to derive whether a particular step which is controlling the hazard is a CCP or not. So it has got 4 questions into it, and it is called decision tree. And the first question is, do control measure exist? So here again, please remember, control measure. Control measures is the typical term, but because people were not clear, the term of preventive have been added into it. Okay, so do preventive control measure exist? Now, we will either have an answer as yes or no. If you say no, then we have to understand, do we have to control this hazard at this step only? The step at which we are discussing this particular hazard. Now, if it is yes, you will modify the step in the process of the product and go back. If it is no, then it is not a CCP, so don't worry about it. You move on to the next step and come to the question number 1 again. Now, if the answer to this question is yes, we come to the question number 2. Question number 2 is the step specifically designed to eliminate or reduce the likely occurrence of hazard to an acceptable level? Now, my friends, we have got 2 questions here. Why? Because there is a or word given here. The first question is it specially designed to eliminate? The second question is, reduce the likely occurrence of hazard to acceptable level. If the answer is yes to both, then it is yes. If the answer is yes to anyone, still this is yes. Please mind, the answer no will come only if it is no to elimination as well as reducing the hazard occurrence, likely occurrence to an acceptable level. Am I clear here? I repeat. At that step, if the control is applied and the hazard is either completely eliminated, yes or no, or if no to elimination, if yes to reduction, it is yes. If yes to elimination, no to reduction, still the answer has to be taken as yes. It cannot be both, right? So if it is no to both elimination as well as reduction, then only we have to consider the answer as no. Now, if the answer is yes, this is typical CCP. You need not worry, you move ahead. This step is identified for CCP now. Now comes the problem if the answer is no in both the cases. If it is no, then we go to question number 3. Question number 3 again has got 2 questions again, similar to the above one. We have got or here, or. So again it is, put the contamination with identified hazard occur in excess of acceptable level, or could these increase to unacceptable level if the control fails at that particular step? In the same way like question number 1, here also, answer to anyone is yes, Answer to any one no is yes. Answer no to both questions. Neither the hazard will be more in count than acceptable level, nor they will grow. Then only it will be considered as no in this case. Okay? So, in that case, if you say it is no in both cases, that is not your CCP. Forget about this step. Move on to the next step with the decision tree. But again, if it is yes, we come to the last but not the least, the fourth question, that is, will a subsequent step, again here we have got two questions because of this or in between. Again, as a first question, this has got again the same thing, elimination in the first question here also, the elimination, and the second question is reduction. Yes to anyone is yes, only no in both cases will be considered as no. In that case, if it is no, if it is yes, it is not a CCP. If it is no, then only this is a CCP. So I stop here and try to see what are the comments coming in or any doubts with any people so that I can answer them. Because
Okay, so people want to know more about an OPRP with an example. Can you give an example, please?
we can go into the last portion about the example, or you want to take it up right now?
Maybe, just because there were a number of questions regarding OPRP.
Okay, I take
yeah,
the
just
slide back there.
quickly. Yeah, quickly if we can go through it.
Sorry to interrupt, madam. Please introduce yourself, madam, because you joined the.
Okay. So good evening, everybody, and apologies for joining in late. Unfortunately, the Zoom app was just not functioning well. My name is Krishna Datta, and I'm the moderator and the co-presenter for this session. As far as my qualification goes, I'm a microbiologist and currently into manufacturing of frozen foods. Have been practicing food safety for nearly 20 years in the domain of auditing as well as consulting and training. So that's about me for now. And in fact, all the questions are welcome because I'm going through the questions continuously. So please ask more questions so that, all of us can benefit from this. This is completely a knowledge sharing forum. So let's share knowledge. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Just I was going to again share my screen.
Yeah.
Well, friends, as I said earlier also, the confusion do exist. Let's go by a CCP or PRP. Who can give me the example first? Please unmute your mic and speak on. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Yeah.
I was asking,
Yeah.
I have asked the question. Anyone
Correct,
to reply for that?
Sir, can I tell?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, please.
Please.
Anyone?
I am Ashok Nanda here.
Okay.
Of course, I am basically an energy management person having very less knowledge. I am acquiring a lot of knowledge.
No problem.
But I have got some idea. This critical control points, as you told, it is a process point itself. But during the process itself, these critical control points are to be measured and monitored and all those things. But prerequisite program is also applicable for the process itself, but the program is to be made before the process takes place.
Good.
That's what
you
my
understood the definition part of it, but then your explanation word is also correct. But then few people only think with respect to what you call it as examples only. Let me first clarify these two again. Any activity you have to do to
just I will tell. Just I will give some example.
Okay.
A critical control point. Suppose if somebody is manufacturing bread, right? In the manufacturing process, the critical control point will be definitely the grain orientation and quality of temperature maintaining the formation of the bread, and then the timing. All those things are critical control point. But the prerequisite program for that is what type of oven and what is the volume of production you are going to do. All those things will be taken care through the prerequisite program.
Volume has got no meaning, quality has got no meaning in food safety. Okay, any other person who has been involved into food safety would like to speak on this? Anyone else?
Can I try and answer?
Please, please.
Umesh Naik here.
Okay.
The prerequisite programs are essentially those activities that you would do in terms of preparing to start the manufacturing. So all those things that we do, pest control, cleaning, sanitation, personal hygiene, all of them will be prerequisites.
Right. Correctly stated, but I will give a different word for to understanding everyone. See,
Please.
all activities we do are to control hazards. All activities has to control hazards. That is our prime motto. But the mechanism by which we are controlling the hazards, the names have been given here. The mechanism. Now, what is the mechanism? If certain care has to be taken before the actual food process starts, all those controls are put into prerequisite programs. Now, just an example to make people understand. I have a fear that if I handle the food just like that, I may introduce, or else the day before yesterday's one, I will contaminate the food because my hand may be having microbes. So what I am supposed to do to control that? I have not handled the food yet. So before handling food, either dough mixing or anything, whatever, cutting or touching food item, anything, what am I supposed to do? What I do, I wash my hand and I sanitize my hand. Now this activity controls hazard, no doubt, from contamination. So this activity is prerequisite program. Now hazards enter into food from so many other things, not just our hand. But in our process of operation of converting the raw food into a finished consumable food, is there any process activity which can reduce the hazard to acceptable level or eliminate the hazard? That particular process step ultimately is your critical control point. For example, just for a layman, for engineers and all other here, what makes you sure when you drink a cup of tea given to you at home that a piece of glass along with sugar is not there in your cup of tea? Now this question, you can unmute and answer. I said a hazard, which is a glass piece of the same size, almost looking similar to sugar, along with the sugar has gone into your cup of tea, or it is there in the tea bowl. What process actually you are doing at home to ensure that this is not there, or how confident are you that you are not drinking a cup like that?
Like filtration
We
of
do
the
sieving of tea.
You understood, both are correct answers, but I will give a slight difference meaning to both. Filtration is to the liquids, whereas sieving is for the solid items. So when a liquid portion in any form is passed through certain sieve, it is called filter. Now, filtration process is the one which is eliminating this piece of glass from our tea, right? So we are confident because we are filtering it. But we have a fear it may fall afterward also. No, because we don't add any sugar after that. If we are adding in the end just before drinking, we have that still there. Hazard is still there. But the process when we are filtering and there is no more further step to filter the tea. So for physical hazard, glass piece, this filtration of tea is your critical control point for the physical hazard, not for biological or chemical hazard. So for each chemical hazard, you may have a separate CCP or a particular process step may take care of two different hazards, you will have to think practically on that. Then only it will say that this CCP is able to control physical as well as chemical, or physical as well as biological, or biological as well as chemical. So this is the difference between PRP and critical control point. Now we come to the third, which is there, which is a new terminology coming. There are other process steps also which are controlling hazards at that level, at that stage. But that is not CCP. In this differentiation has been brought out in 2018 version to clarify the difference. It says, where you are not able to monitor the process happening with some parameter to understand the safety issue, and you observe it through your eye to understand that safety is still has accomplished, then such process step is your operational prerequisite program. Now, what is this? You can understand it is safe or not. At home, you are cooking rice in your cooker, and you have a bacterial hazard which has come along with the rice. What ensures it is safe or not? Please unmute and answer.
Steaming operations.
Pardon me?
Steam operations, like
either the boiling, if it is not pressurized, or else the steam escaping from the pressure, safety pressure which you have given on the top, safety valve, right?
Right, sir.
So this is not monitored through any parameter. It is through your vision which you are monitoring it. There is no parameter of temperature like that.
Yes.
Under such conditions, if you are monitoring the safety of the food through that and it controls the significant hazard, such cannot be a CCP, because you do not, it all depends on the visual capability of the person. That is a very simple one which I said. Suppose it is cooking and then you say the color of the vegetable, I am able to understand it is cooked or not. So it is depending on the individual. There is no parameter to check that. Usually the catering people have this particular phenomena under most of the cases, but most of the food processing industries, it is not. Very few are there in operation. There are certain, we will talk of it later in the different thing. But here, so in such cases, that is not a CCP then, it is a operational prerequisite program. Are we clear on this?
Can I just add a line to this?
Please. No, I was going to give a hand over the mic for you after everybody says then. You can add few words there.
Okay.
Every particular this one, I will stop and give you hand over to you, ma'am.
Okay. So anything that you cannot measure, just get there. Okay. In the operational prerequisite program, it's a prerequisite program which is necessary for that process, but you cannot measure it. So you have to use different subjective ways of evaluating whether the process has been completed or whether the process has been taken care of or not. Did everyone get this? Like, you may not be able to measure the time. You may not be able to measure the temperature, but it is a necessity. Like the way he said that you will listen to the whistle. So there could be some alarm, okay, which will actually get you to know that that process has been taken care of. So that's an operational prerequisite program.
Madam, excuse me.
Yeah.
Madam, which are the example of OPRP?
Okay.
Its steps.
Coming to this OPRP, it will be very much specific to the category of the food and the sector in which you are actually applying it. Okay, so it will be very different for each operation.
Oh, that's okay. I will give an example.
Yeah, you can give an example. In fact, actually, we must ask them what sector do they think.
We have to understand which process they understand, then we have to go by that.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, whoever asked this question, can you ask that again?
No, sir. You asked about this glass piece in the tea, right? In the tea making process. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Madam, you are audible. Please continue, madam.
Yeah.
No, somebody was speaking, so we were
Okay.
trying to understand.
Okay, you just asked them about the tea making process, right? So the tea making process itself, you can continue. Let us figure out the OPRP in that process.
In fact, if I may interrupt, as per the new revised understanding, the filter that is used to filter out the glass piece itself, that step actually could fall into a OPRP, because there is no measurement there. It is by observation whether the sieve is intact, whether the foreign matter has been removed or not.
May I know your name, please?
Umesh Nayak here.
Right, Umesh, you are right there. Wherever parameteral controls are not there, but observational controls are there, either by sound or by smell or by vision or by taste, these are all, and ensuring the safety of the food, these are all OPRP now, as per the new terminology.
Yeah.
But then when we go to hazard, this has been covered as a part of CCP only.
Right.
We will talk of it later when we come there.
Absolutely.
Into the critical limits and all. So if this particular topic about the difference of these different control mechanisms which have been stated on this slide is clear, shall we move ahead? And is decision tree clear to everyone?
Sir? Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Can you explain the control point, quality control point?
We
What
will
is the different, like how this point, this control point is different from other three?
Madam, in the tea exercise, you need more sugar, somebody doesn't need more sugar. Is it going to affect someone, or somebody likes it without sugar? Somebody likes without coffee, without milk, the black tea. We are talking of tea only. Now, all these things are to the taste, right?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
So that has got nothing to do with safety issues. These are
Okay.
all quality issues now. How much milk? Should I have a dark one or a lighter one, more milk? Or simply add tea into the milk and then boil it and drink what we call in North India as tea leaf in milk. So that is more of a tea flavored milk rather than a tea as per me.
Okay,
So these
sir.
are all quality issues. How much of sugar, how much of tea, how much of milk, what is should be the color here for my tea. All these are quality, nothing to do with safety.
Okay, sir.
Or
Understood.
otherwise, if you talk of milk, low fat, high fat, any problem to the consumer? If I say toned milk and you are not able to supply 3% fat, is it okay or not okay? As per law, it is not okay. But in safety, that has got nothing to do with it. Because nothing will happen if he has got a little more fat or little less fat in his milk. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
These parameters are control points or quality control points. Nothing, those which have got no relation to safety are quality control points or control points.
Sir?
Hello?
Sir, is it like that control points are basically for ingredients and nutritional content, and others are?
Not just ingredients, anything
Yes.
which defines the quality other than safety is a control point or a quality control point. QCP or CP, you may call it. I will talk it again when we are monitoring. We will take up this. I will explain again there.
Okay, sir.
I will
Thank
come
you,
back
sir.
to this particular differentiation again. So that is there where I will be talking about these things. But
Okay, sir.
main
Thank
thing
you.
here in food safety, these are the first three are the terminologies: CCP, PRP, OPRP. OPRP only because of FSMS. Otherwise, HACCP, this is not the terminology. We don't have to worry about that. But it controls every through the line is important. It's not that OPRP is not there, so we are
Sir.
not considering that.
Sir,
Hello? Yes?
in ISO 22000-2018, this OPRP comes.
Pardon me? Yes, it is there. Don't say
In
comes, it is defined
before
there.
revised version 9,
It is there. It is there.
there it's
Yes.
known as a prerequisite program in
No.
before
Prerequisite
version.
programs issue PRP. Operational prerequisite programs are called as OPRP.
Okay.
That is a short term of operational prerequisite program. And PRP is a short term for prerequisite programs.
It comes under HACCP, PRP.
Pardon me?
PRP.
PRP are the full form is prerequisite program.
Yes, sir.
Prerequisite.
Yes, I
What is
understand.
required for that process before you start the process? Let us go it that way. That will be easy for you to understand. Like I gave an example of hand washing before you touch the food. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Good. Now I move to the decision tree. Is any question there raised on decision tree so that I can answer them before I move ahead?
Sir, I have one doubt about that control point, fourth one.
Yeah.
Where it will come, sir? Actually, these generally these three only. I mean, CCP.
Agreed.
And,
I am putting that slide again. This is the control point. It will come in certain standards where IFS certification, SQF certifications are there, then only. If you are going to simple HACCP certification or into FSMS certification or FSSC certification, these won't come.
Okay. Okay.
This is only for these. I have given here in the third line. Mostly used in IFS standard and SQF standard to control the quality of the product. Nothing to do with safety of the product. That's why HACCP doesn't speak of it. So we are talking of HACCP and HACCP plan. So let's not go into quality line.
Okay.
Now, right. Now I am putting the decision tree, slowly moving. Any question or non-clarity to anyone, because this is very important. Without this, you cannot identify the CCP, and people do mistake here. Is every word which I have explained when I was showing this slide one by one clear to everyone? Then I can move ahead in that case.
Can you explain it again?
Again?
Is it possible?
No, which point is your doubt? You tell me that.
The left one, right from here, like is the step especially designed to eliminate or reduce?
Yes, specifically designed to eliminate. See, by looking into the definition or a statement like this, you get more confusion. Please replace the word step with the actual step of that process. Then replace the word hazard with that actual hazard of the step. For example, I will ask you now a question. Please listen to this for the T only. Is filtration specially designed to eliminate glass piece?
No as such.
Answer this.
No as such. But
No.
this is a process. This is
No, hold on. It's a process. Why do we use filter then?
Just to eliminate the tea leaf and all.
Absolutely. Please remember this question and answer now, every one of you. Always when you are using the decision tree, replace the word step with the actual step and replace the hazard with the actual hazard. Then the answer is very clear to you. Otherwise, you will get confused. As I said, when they stated the statement, is filtration specially designed to eliminate glass piece from tea? No. Okay, we repeat again because or is there. Is filtration specially designed to reduce the occurrence of glass piece to acceptable? Can it reduce the acceptable? Is it specially designed fundamentally? No. In both cases, it is no. So you take the arrow of no and come to question number 3. Now, could contamination with identified hazard means, can the tea have more number of glass pieces? One question. Yes, no.
Maybe.
Hello? Maybe. No. Whenever you say doubtful may means you have to take it as yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I ask you again the next question parallel. Could contamination with glass piece increase to an unacceptable level? Can it grow in that tea?
No.
Very clearly we know that it is no. But one of the questions answer is yes. So you have to consider the yes here and come to the 4th question. Now, do we have a subsequent step 2 filtration which eliminates glass piece? Yes, no. After filtration, do you have any other further step which can eliminate the glass piece? That is the meaning of this question now.
No.
No. So
No, we
when
don't
you
have any
say
step.
no, it is your CCP here as per this decision tree.
Okay.
Okay, let us go there. Do we have a control measure? Yes, we have the filter. So we did not go to the right side. You got the point?
Okay,
in the
fine.
first question.
Yeah.
If you say no, then we have to answer these questions also practically like that.
Right, right. I got it.
So now is this particular exercise through our friend's question clear to everyone on the decision tree? Because all of you should know what is a decision tree. Please remember, this was given by Codex Alimentarius Commission in 1997 to do away with that problem of identifying CCP, which was a huge problem before that.
Okay. I got it.
Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Shall
Yes.
I go ahead?
One question only.
Yes.
In comparison with the ISO 22000, 2005 and 2018,
Hmm.
only this preventive word has been increased into this.
Sir. The word preventive is not at all there in 22,000.
Okay.
Forget that. I have put the word preventive in bracket because that is not the actual word in HACCP also. Because the first question itself is, do control measure exist? What do you have a control for this hazard? People used to say, I don't have a hazard. I don't have any control on it. So people started asking, how do you prevent it? So the word preventive control measure terminology has been brought into the decision tree in 1997, whereas HACCP was defined in 1960s itself.
Okay, sir.
Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear? Preventive word, the whole exercise of HACCP is preventive individually.
Yeah.
So this word I have put it in bracket purposefully, though this bracket is not there in actual decision tree. It is not preventive, it is control measure only. So what I am trying to explain here is control measure word has not come in ISO 22000. It has been used since HACCP has come into existence. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Everyone please understand, control measure is the right terminology. Preventive control measure has been defined by Codex Alimentarius Commission in 1997 to understand, make people understand this word, that how do you control, because elimination and these words are not there. So the word preventive is put here and there is no preventive word in any of the question. The third control, there are three types of control. One is preventing, another is reducing, and the last is eliminating. All three has been taken into account like this here. The preventive word is not used in question number 2, not used in question number 4. Are we clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Clear. Sir.
So we move ahead. No more questions on decision tree. Is it clear to everyone? Because everyone should understand this. It is
Hello?
not simple. It is not difficult. If you understand, it is very easy. Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead now.
Sir, hello. Sir, I have one question. Sir, this tree which you have made or which is there.
No, it's not made. It's being provided by Codex Alimentarius Commission.
Yes, sir, if this tree is based on the process, like for the particular step, or it's just for the hazard? Like, my question is that,
Can you repeat that first one? First word I couldn't catch your word. What is
the tree is should be the based on process or the based on the identified, like hello.
Your voice is cracking in between. Can you speak slowly?
Hello.
Yeah, question. Please
No.
repeat. No, your voice is
Yes, sir.
Can you put it on chat box?
Yes, sir. I can put that.
No, now I can hear you.
Okay, sir. So my question is that this tree, it should be made for the process, for a particular process or a hazard. Like initially you said it is for the filtration. Like for the filtration step we are making this tree. But later on you come
I got your question. I got your question. See, we have come to this level and I have not explained about hazard analysis because that is mostly people do that and they understand. After conducting hazard analysis, which I explained earlier, and identifying the significant hazard and those significant hazards at particular step wherever they are, for each step, the hazard, you have to adopt this tree. For each step where the control is there for the significant hazard, that this tree has to be used for each process step where hazards are controlled. significant hazards are controlled. Is it clear? It's a practical usage.
Yes, sir. So it
Suppose,
might be possible that for a particular step, we can make a 2 and 3 chart for a different hazard. It might be possible.
Different hazard will be eliminated at different steps, right?
Yeah.
Different hazards. Different hazard means we have got only 3 types of hazards: biological, chemical, and physical, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, in filtration, we can employ the ultrafiltration where we can remove the
biological hazards also. If you say, if the filter size is so micro, understood your point. If you have got a HEPA filter or something like that.
So we can make, yeah, sir, we can the glass one and the biological, like physical hazard and biological hazard. So
that's what I explained when I was explaining about CCP. A CCP can control 2 if the control is like that. Otherwise, it is controlling only one hazard, one type of hazard. I need your question again.
Sir, one question.
No, hold on. Is the madam's query over? This tree has to be used for every step where the hazards are controlled. Is it clear? If there are 20 odd steps in a, I will come back and please listen to me. If there are 20 steps and the control of hazard happen at 7 steps, all 7 steps should be passed through this decision tree to understand what is your CCP. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Was that the question on your mind? Or something else?
So, yeah, my question was slightly different. My question was, like, it might be possible through a one process we can remove 2 hazards, or we can reduce
risk of hazard. Please understand, then for both hazards, the critical limits will be separate. It cannot be same. We will come to that limit. I'm going to talk on that. It can.
Okay, so that was my
I'm not denying that point. It could. But only the operation you should know that operation properly, whether it is controlling that hazard or not. Is it clear?
So different tree would be there. Okay, sir.
And then again, please remember, if there is a subsequent step to eliminate one of these hazard which is eliminated at this step, then the subsequent step will be CCP for that type of hazard, not this step, as per question number 4. So this is a combination of, it's not just one-off question which you are asking and I am answering. You have to combine all these 4 questions put together to derive whether it is CCP or not. That is important. Now, sir,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Somebody else was asking a question on this. Hello?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the time is up.
Oh, time is up.
Yeah, with maybe this question may be the last question and we can wind up the session, sir.
We have got so many other things to explain quickly. I have to move on. Okay, is it on decision tree or on control measures? Hello?
Hello.
Is it on decision tree or on control measure?
Decision tree. Should we make this decision tree for allergens also?
Please understand, allergen is hazard, not a process step.
Okay.
This is for process steps to identify CCP. Allergen is an ingredient, is a raw material. How can you use this decision tree there?
Okay.
Getting the point? It is a combination of a step and hazard. It's not just hazard. Is it clear?
Okay. No. Only for physical, biological, and chemical hazard we'll have to do it.
No. These hazards, while processing, which step controls it? That step is CCP now.
Okay. That is a part of ingredients.
That is a part of ingredients. So it cannot be brought out here.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, I move ahead because the time scarcity is there. Determining critical limit for CCP, the limit has to be very specific. It has to be measurable. More emphasis on monitorable in HACCP, whereas this differentiation is there in 22,000. Measurability, it is a CCP. Monitorability, through some other things, it is your OPRP now as per 22,000. Now, please understand, these limits must be validated. And earlier HACCP, it could be qualitative, it would be quantitative. Now, qualitative is the parametrical one, measurable. Quantitative is a monitorable one with some sensors. which I explained earlier. So I am going a little fast because time is short. Exceeding the critical limit, it should initiate corrective action. If corrective action cannot be taken then and there, then that is not a critical limit. Consider threshold, hazard threshold. We have to consider all these three. Consider measurement tolerance, consider regulatory requirements, consider system response time. After considering these four, we have to define our critical limit. And please remember, critical limit are not operational limit. Now these operational limits are quality parameters. I will explain that. We are looking for critical limits now. Please understand. Please pay attention here quickly. Now, this is coming. This is not your critical limit. This is your upper control limit. Are you getting it? We are getting another line. This is your lower control limit. Please understand, these are not your critical limit. Then there is a one. This is target value, the ideal value at which you want to run your operation always. Please remember, your critical limit is much above these. So your upper limit of operation, lower limit of control, quality control or a target, these are all within critical limit. Nothing can cross critical limit. If anything is crossing critical limit, means that food is unsafe. So you have this critical limit is something above all your operational limits. So you can never have an upper limit or a lower, plus minus this, that is for the target value, not for critical limit. Either it will be above this critical limit safe or below this critical limit safe. Then these three upper lower will go up if it is below. So this is a typical way to understand what is a critical limit. It cannot be your operational control limit, cannot be your critical limit. That can be if your process is so perfect and auto correction can take place. If it is not, then you have to have these three things different. Now, monitoring, the main thing is a schedule for each CCV, monitoring curve. It should be scheduled. What you should schedule? You should schedule a measurement and observation, and it should be related to the critical limit of a CCP. You should always take into mind your response time. If you can't respond, then that is not the monitoring is not adequate in that case. In this monitoring schedule, we should understand the equipment to be used, moment or the frequency of checking, the interval, whether there is an interval or it is continuous is more important. The interpretation of the results of the actions to be taken, the corrective actions comes later. So monitoring system of a CCP should have a monitoring method. How to monitor, monitoring frequency, at what interval, person responsible to monitor, who will monitor, personnel responsible for evaluating the monitoring result, and indication of whether the monitoring result is recorded or documented. Now, this is your monitoring, a graph similar to what I showed earlier. You can have your discontinuous monitoring schedule with a frequency time interval, or it can be continuous. It could be anything. Based on the operation, it has to be defined and that should be accurate, and it should be in a position to determine the fault when it's occurred so that the corrective action can be taken. Corrective action and action to ensure what we have to do, that the CCP is brought back to control if it is out of control, or the product that was manufactured while CCP was out of control to be handled appropriately, either to correct it or to discard it, whatever may be the situation based on your parameter verification activity. Now friends, HACCP plan, please remember now what we are calling as hazard control plan is a document prepared in accordance with the principles of HACCP to ensure that the control of hazards is there for the significance of the food safety in the segment of food chain. So typically, this what I am showing you is the HACCP plan, none other. They are all other requirements to complete and come to this conclusion. Typically, it can be in any form, but typically this is the HACCP plan. What is it? A step, which is your CCP. What is the hazard it is controlling? What is the critical limit for this CCP? What is to be monitored, how it is to be monitored, when it is to be monitored, where and who will monitor it. That is your monitoring procedure. corrective action, how will you take care of product, and how will you take care of your line means the process to bring it back within the critical limit if it is out. And who is going to do this? And what is the record where these two will be there? And then the verification, what is to be verified, how it is to be verified, what is the frequency of verification. And so typically, this is HACCP plan. This is now called hazard control plan. So we come to the end of this session, I think. Now we can go for opt for any question and answers. Madam, you want to add any question, any point here?
Sir, I have one doubt for this. In STEP and CCP, they mentioned no first column. That is only we consider critical control point only, or all the hazards you identified in this step?
All the hazards cannot be eliminated at a particular step. So a step or a CCP, whatever you are saying, sorry. See, as I explained earlier, a CCP is nothing but a process step, right? Which is controlling a hazard. So here you have to identify which hazard this CCP is controlling.
Okay.
This process step, which is called as a CCP, is controlling which hazard. Is it? Don't write biological, physical, chemical. You have to identify that specific hazard which it is controlling. Like I said, the process step is filtration. Hazard is glass piece. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear, sir. Clear.
Any other?
So process step wise only we have to prepare this plan.
No. The step which is being called as CCP, for that this plan has to be made.
Okay.
If the CCP is not identified, for that process step, we don't need this plan.
Okay. If the particular process there is no CCP, then we cannot include in that, sir.
If there is no CCP, then this plan is not there at all.
Okay.
See, a simple thing is that whenever you're doing an hazard analysis, you will have some basic structure already in place to identify any hazard potential that could be there in that process. Okay. This CCP is derived at a level where that step is essentially designed to remove the hazard. Please get that. And why are we talking about so much of control in this? Because if at all you miss that step, then the food will be unsafe for human consumption. It's as simple as that. So, a very great way of addressing it is ask yourself, if I do not do this step, is it okay? Is my food safe? Ask that question. If you say no, then look at what you want to include there. And once you include, the reason why this is so beautifully defined also is that you will not miss on anything. All the parameters, who, when, what, why, you will not miss all that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, can we conclude the session now? Because it's already.
It is 10 minutes past 6 already.
Yeah. So we'll end up this session. Maybe some questions are there. They can post it in the chat box so that it can be answered to the mail ID.
Can you forward those questions to me so that I can answer them and then again post back?
Yes, sir. That can be.
Thank you, because I have not noted them at my end.
It is there in the chat. You can save it.
Can I save it now?
लगा तो दिया सिखा रहा है leave.
Can I save the chat?
I think it will be saved in the host server only.
So I have to.
We'll retrieve it and we'll share it with you, sir.
If you can send me, I can answer those questions.
So you can save. I think everyone publicly only it is there. You can save the chat. No problem. Sir.
No, I cannot. I need no. I don't know how to do that. Can you help me out?
Okay. Yeah, I'll help you. I'll send it. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Then I can answer those individual.
Yeah, we have concluded. We have come to the last part of this webinar, and I personally extend my thanks and gratitude to Appaji Rao sir for outlining the hazard control plan, and the co-presenter Srimati Krishna Datta for providing useful information to all the participants. And I thank all the participants for being very interactive, and really I could understand that the time is a constraint for us. A lot of questions are there, and it's an interesting topic also. Sorry for that, but we have to close it because of the time what we have fixed. Tomorrow's webinar topic will be difference between pharmaceutical and nutraceutical and regulatory perspective of nutraceuticals. So that is the topic for tomorrow's webinar. And if you can see the chat, the meeting ID and the password has been given for this entire webinar series. Tomorrow's webinar also the same, the meeting ID which is reflecting in the chat, the participants can note it down and use that meeting ID and the password to log into the tomorrow's webinar session or also for the subsequent webinar series. Okay, the timings is every day it will be 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, please can you share PPT?
No, that will get back to you. We'll get back to you. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.